Hi everyone, this is Lawrence Mann, freelance illustrator, Corel master painter. The question today is Sketchable just for sketching? Or as somebody else asked me the other day, because that was just the way I decided to word it, can you actually paint a finished piece in Sketchable? So in other words, yeah, can you do more than sketching in Sketchable? That's a fair enough point, so far, the only pieces I've really produced in Sketchable are sketches. And why is that? That's purely because I've just been beta testing. So, today I wanted to set out and do a more polished piece in Sketchable. Okay, the kind of work I do, I normally spend, a week, maybe 2 weeks on a finished book cover or, the kind of work that I do. Which is to say, roughly 20, 30 hours on a piece. Okay? This is quite a long time. I'm not going to do that now in one video just to prove a point. So I'm going to spend about 2 hours on this piece and speed it up. So already as I've been speaking, you can see that I'm already quite far on in this piece. Yep, and it's going really well. And as I'm doing this, really I'm just doing kind of a 3/4 length portrait, and I've used the symmetry tool here to kind of help speed it up even further. Now, it's going really well, and I might normally just get to this point and say, ta-da, done. Yep. I've used the symmetry tool, and I've gotten so far, then turned symmetry off and carried on, just so it doesn't look so symmetrical, And Sketchable has some great brushes like this line brush here and the blender, and some other brushes. And you can come up with some really great effects, as you can see here. There's a free transform tool as well. And I'm just using the basic brush tool here. Now I could have done that with a pencil tool. There's the airbrush tool as well. So you can see that it's got all the basic tools that you need to do sketching. But obviously they're the same tools that you need to do any basic finished piece as well. The difference between sketching and a finished piece is purely the amount of time that you spend on it. It's got nothing to do with the tool itself. I've seen people do absolutely rubbish work in Photoshop and Painter, but I've seen people do absolutely amazing, astonishing works of art in Painter and in Photoshop, in Procreate, every tool. It's about the amount of time and effort that you put into these, into your work as well. So, realistically, of course, you can do more than sketching in Sketchable. And that's why I wanted to do this video, just to kind of help prove a point. But I wasn't going to go, I didn't want to go all out and spend 20 hours proving that point. I would absolutely love to, but obviously I've got to do some commissions as well and try and make some money and, make a living as well. YouTube's great, but I don't do Patreon yet, and unless people want to start clicking the donate button on my YouTube channel page, which I would absolutely love, yeah, then I'm not going to be able to do really lengthy videos just yet. So, as you can see, this is working out quite well. I'm spending a nice little time on the eyes here, and they are really starting to pop. The nose as well. All the facial features are really coming along. And if I look at the time here, we're 5 minutes into the speeded up version. This was 2 hours. So we're probably looking at being, what, 25, heading on for what, roughly half an hour in. And this is already looking really good. You know, bear in mind that we did use the symmetry tool early on in, so we cut out a good chunk of time here. You know, Sketchable is a really nice, easy to use app as well. And I've been using this for a while it was in its beta testing stages. So I've gotten to grips with this as well. I know a lot of you are using this now, and it's kind of like you may have only just got your hands on it because the new version's only just come out. But yeah, it's really simple to use. So, you know, but this sketch is going really well. It's going quite quickly. The tools are the same as in, you know, many other apps. So I'm managing to fly through this, and yeah, it's just about how much time and effort you put into a piece. You know, you can see that the hair's quite rough, and I don't think I'm having too much luck here with the body, but it is coming along quite nicely. The horns are quite rough, but that nice line brush that's in there has really brought the horns to life, as you can see. And that's actually a standard brush in Sketchable. I do want to point out the subscribe bar on the right hand side of the video. That is there not just as a nice subtle reminder to subscribe to my channel, but but because this video is obviously recorded on the Surface Pro 4, and the Surface Pro 4's dimensions are actually different to a 1080p video. It's not as wide as a 1080p video, so we're left with this kind of black bar, you know, at the side. And normally I leave a slight black bar at either side of the video, but this time I thought I'd experiment, you know, and put this little subscribe bar down the side. And hopefully I'll make that clickable so you can subscribe, you know. So if you like this video, you can see more of my speed paintings, more of my Sketchable videos, more of my Surface Pro videos, more of my tutorials. I have got some more in-depth ones in my tutorials playlist. I have got, you know, more videos. They're all neatly laid out in playlists, everything like that. I have got lots more videos where I ramble on as well. But yeah, so I thought I'd give that a try. I saw it in somebody else's video, so yeah, I thought I'd give it a go. But so ultimately, yeah, of course it's just about how much time you put in on anything. But I just want to yeah, at this point I'd sorry. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I felt comfortable enough with the monotone at this point. A lot of the time I do just work in black and white, and then go on to colour. I normally find my first stage of colour painting is quite vibrant. I scrapped my portfolio about 4 years ago and started again. Not even 4 years ago. I think it was about 2 years ago, and started my portfolio again from scratch just because I didn't like some of the stuff that was in there. And I started again from scratch, and I wanted all my new portfolio to be a lot more brighter, a lot more vibrant. So these days when I'm laying down colours, I start with some really gaudy and vibrant colours. And I'll drag them back a lot, but it's fun to have some really gaudy, vibrant colours. And it can seem really off-putting if you're watching me draw, but yeah. I'll bring these colours back. I'll subdue them, but for right now, it's just fun to, put in some nice bright colours. And I think as well the layer effects, that you get, a lot of them, like the colour and overlay, they always tend to do that as well. They tend to oversaturate and over brighten the tones and the saturations of the colours anyway. So they tend to cyclify and sweeten the colours. So it makes it a little more fun to work with. I had this idea as well that I wanted to uplight her with a colour. So I thought at this point I'd go in, and since I've only just added a basic colour, I thought I'd go in and really just add that in as well. I'm still just thinking of this as an advanced sketch at this point. When I do a tutorial, it's not a finished piece. When I do one of my kind of paid tutorials, when I do one of my longer tutorials, my kind of 2-3 hour voiceover tutorials, it's not one of my kind of finished commissioned illustrations. So I want to get this to more of that standard. That's how I'm viewing this. So if you've ever watched one of my tutorials, that's how this is going to turn out. So I'm just getting in nice and detailed, and the pen tool here, one of the pen tools is great for this this kind of level of detail, and so is the airbrush if you take it down to a nice small size as well. In fact, all of the brushes are. But again, I can just go in and use the symmetry tool here, almost just as a rough guide, just to get that other ear correct. Although watching it now as I do the voiceover, I know I've made a mistake because that other ear is too short now. The brilliance of being able to look back at something. See, if this was a commission piece, I always leave things for a day or so before I do the official handover. Because I know now, looking back at that, I can say, oh, that ear's too short. Sometimes it's nice to have that extra day, or at least that half day, where you put something on the wall and you stand and you look at it and you say, that's not right, that's not right. And that's why it's nice. One of the things that I normally do is I'll put something on the wall and I'll just make a note of it. I'll stand there with a notepad and I'll just try and make notes on it, like change this, change that, change this, change that. And I'll make myself a little bullet point list of things to change, and sometimes I'll purposely hunt things to change. Like, I want to change at least 5 things. And sometimes, I'm not saying I really have to hunt for them, but sometimes I go looking for problems. And I just write the list out and put it down. And then the next morning when I wake up, I sit down and I change them. Because the first thing when you wake up in the morning, your mind is all, oh, what do I do? Oh, I'm crippled, it's too early in the morning. But you've got your list in front of you and you just crack on. Because I'm not a morning person. I'm not all like, get up, I've got my coffee, la 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 la, the day is great. I'm not one of those people. I'm one of the people that gets up and I don't want to move, it's the morning. I shouldn't be out of bed. So having the list helps me get through. But having looked at it in that detail before I go to bed means it's still running through my mind, and I might even think of things because it's still in my head and it's still there. And that's really nice. And I might even think of more things, and I have to email notes to myself of other things. Like, oh, I should add this to it because that might add things to like a subliminal storyline. So I end up emailing myself little notes from my phone so that when I get to it in the morning at my computer, I have these little notes. It's just an idea that you might also enjoy. Anyway, back to this. You can see that it is coming along, and right now we're kind of at the halfway marker. So we're about an hour in reality, whereas in this timeline we're 15 minutes in. So yeah, here we go. And at the moment, we're concentrating on this red dress. And I had no idea where this was going. I think earlier on I was just going to give her this brassiere with these kind of overstraps. And then I decided, no, you're no longer 16. And you're married now, and your wife would not approve. So yeah, I decided to colour in her arms and body to make it more of a dress. You just saw me toggling on the monochromatic eye there, so I could see the tonal values and a couple other tools. So yeah, and I'm putting back on the purple that I'd scrubbed out there with the colour, and you could see me drawing on some other thin lines to make kind of cobweb like parts of the design, which I kind of like. Makes her a bit more Halloweeny as well, which is kind of nice. Now I'm adding on other thicker ones to give it kind of a texture. Again, this is kind of looking very Halloweeny now. It's really weird, but there's something really nice about it. I kind of want to paint that kind of black, paint the dress black now, colour it black, and turn it into Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Obviously she wouldn't have horns, but yeah, now I'm wanting to do a painting of Elvira. I've never painted Elvira, but you know, I loved the movies when I was a kid, so yeah. Wonder why. Again, using this brush, which I absolutely love, which I think is one of Don's brushes. Shout out to Don, who also beta tested the Sketchable app. And yeah, this is, like I said, a lovely, lovely brush. And you can create lots of absolutely great brushes yourself with the Sketchable app. But yeah, this is absolutely great on the horns here. And I've just turned the opacity down just while I erase all the strays off of here. Obviously, this takes a bit of time. I'm just adding some lines to the face, just for a few more points of interest. You know, it's one of those things where, because I'm trying to make a finished piece, I'm just trying to add a few more design elements, you know, just to make her a bit more devilish, give her some kind of scarification, kind of tattoo shaped lines. Oh, you can also mirror flip in Sketchable as well, so I'm just checking that out. Now the trouble is, I flattened everything earlier on, like a bit of a tool. I included the background in that, so what I'm going to have to do is just erase the entire background. I cut that bit out of the video there, so you wouldn't have to watch me erase the entire background. Yeah, nice and fun. Only because I wanted to free transform her. There we go. And add in a new background. There we go. That's all I wanted to do, was draw a new background, but because she was flattened onto the old background, yeah, I had to erase the old one. There we go. And that means I can also recrop my image. using the free transform tool there. And you can see the free transform tool has lots of different options, which is great. And not being 16, I'm gonna crop out her boobies. Sorry for saying the word boobies. Say that again, boobies. Yeah, can't stop saying that now. But yeah, I just wanted to zoom in on the face a little more. Yep. And I'm going back and adding a bit more of that purple in. But now that I've zoomed in, I also have to refine the detail. There we go. And she's looking good, obviously. I don't mind it being a bit rough and ready, but it's obviously still looking very sketch-like, which is fine. But I have to make sure it's right before I start really defining details, which is why I just want to kind of get these armpit areas correct. There we go. Just stocking her up a bit. There we go. Chest area was kind of dark where that would be out further. What I want to do as well is kind of reinforce all the areas that would be further out and push back some areas. Kind of reinforce the silhouette so that the thumbnail of the image would stand out correctly. You know, so if you saw the image smaller, visually it would make more sense. And that means I have to just make the horn stand out a little more as well. Just add in some lighter parts around the edges. There we go. We haven't got particular light sources. We have this kind of light coming up from the bottom right for the purple, and we have a kind of a white light coming in from the left-hand side, but other than that, you know, there are two main light sources. I want to just add in this dappled effect for the background, just to add in some rough texture, make it feel a little more finished. But I've just created this new brush, and you barely saw that happen. It was that fast, but it kind of gives her a nice little, I don't know, kind of ethereal, kind of fairy sense, which is nice because this way she doesn't feel so evil. My original kind of title for this was Devil Woman, but yeah, I didn't want to go with that. Just because she's got horns doesn't mean she's, you know, devilish in any particular way. So she's not. Just because she's got horns doesn't mean anything. You know, can't judge people. So, you know, that one brush gave us this kind of autumny, fiery background. They kind of look like leaves, but yeah, I like the kind of, you know, the texture there. That's real nice. One thing I do want to do here is change the background just so it doesn't look so symmetrical, and add in hair from this side. But what we're going to do is we're going to use all the brushes that we used previously to construct the hair, and we're just going to color pick from the hair that we've already painted and maybe guess at the color that we used before as well, because we can do that quite easily, you know. But we're going to use a color picker as well. And we know the brushes that we used. We haven't really changed them, and I've purposely keep the same brushes while I work on the paintings as well. I don't like to constantly change my brush settings. So there we go. And I'm just going to, on a separate layer, just paint a shadow there to go underneath the hair, and just find the right layer effect and give it some of that fairy dust as well. There we go. And there we go. That looks a little less symmetrical. But you can see how finished this looks already. And that's, almost 2 hours. So imagine if I spent, 15, 20 hours on a painting. Imagine how awesome that would look. So, I think that's pretty much point proven how awesome a piece you could make in Sketchable. Of course, you could make an absolutely amazing, cracking piece of artwork in Sketchable. Last thing I want to do is just add in some kind of more light sources and some more dark sources just to make the relevant parts stand out. So, the thumbnail size version looks better. And just play with my color values as well. Just so that I'm happy with the final color tone of the image. But yeah, there you go. So that's 2 hours on a piece, and I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. And hopefully that looks nice and finished to you. Hopefully I proved my point. I'll see you around. Thanks for joining me today. Make sure to check out my other Sketchable videos, my other Surface Pro videos, my other tutorials, etc, etc. So yeah, thanks a lot guys. See you next time. Well, thanks for watching, and be sure to comment, like, and even subscribe to my channel, Lawrence Can Draw.